So a bit of news that came out over the weekend and then into Monday as some of these numbers settled relates to 21 Pilots' latest performance on not only the music charts, but also the box office charts. First, let's take a look at how they did on the Spotify charts with the release of their new song, Drag Path. Now, this is actually about a week old, February 24th, week and a half old maybe. But for this period of time, the top song's debut global, Drag Path took number 1. At this point in time, we've sort of gotten used to 21 Pilots charting very well again because Breach did so well that something like this, at least for me initially, I was like, oh, that's cool, that's good that they did that. But it didn't hit me right at first how cool it is, I guess, that an unreleased song that they didn't really roll out, I guess, super well in terms of like music industry marketing or anything like that. They didn't have a super promoted music video. It wasn't promoted heavily on social media, all this kind of stuff. It just kind of silently was released. And certainly, they told their fans, but it wasn't like a huge build-up to the release of the song. That's doing this well on the charts. And there's another one. This is Top Songs Debut USA. So just for America specifically, it's only in 3rd place. I don't know why that is the case. I knew very little about music charts, but anyway, that's how it is. Why it's harder to get number 1 in just one country as opposed to the global market. And then this was daily streams on Spotify. So we've got obviously Stressed Out holding the lead as it is wont to do with the ones that you would expect, Riot and Heathens, and surprisingly Doubt and Chlorine up there in the line, But certainly these top 3, Riot, Heathens, and Stressed Out, you kind of expect are going to be the ones getting the most streams on Spotify. And Drag Path is up there, at least for now, getting over 1 million daily streams. It's also impressive that Stressed Out is still getting over 1 million daily streams 10, almost 11 years later. So, I don't know how the dips have been. I don't know if that's a recent spike, but still, that's pretty cool. And then it's really cool to see Drag Path up there as well. And then finally, I wanted to look at this. This is something I know a little bit more about, let's say, just given that my interest in film is a little more broad than my interest in music. And this, I think, is really cool to see. So in the domestic 2026 box office weekend 9, this is basically the entire period that this film was out. I think it was maybe 2 days before this that it actually released, 1 or 2. But certainly, the runtime, the release window of this film was not very long. Within that period of time, it made it to number 4, despite being in not that many theaters, not having the huge marketing budget that these other films do, especially something like Wuthering Heights or I guess Scream 7. I don't know. I keep seeing ads for Scream 7. I think there was a Super Bowl ad for Scream 7, right? And it didn't beat out that one, but it's up there among films like that. And then also beat out the Elvis Presley in concert film as well, which is more directly something that would compete with it. So that was really cool to see. I'm glad it did that well despite its short run. So hopefully that, a success like this will encourage them to release more films in the future, whatever they may be. Concert films, documentaries, narrative films. Honestly, I'm still hoping, I very much doubt this will actually happen, but I still am adamant that it would be really cool to get a theatrical release of all of the music videos in the sort of narrative of the Clancy Dima story released in theaters on the big screen. And they wouldn't have to do a ton to make that happen. They've already filmed and edited everything. They just need to kind of string it together and make the pieces work well together. So hopefully that will the success will prompt further things like that. I am curious to know, and I, from a cursory glance, wasn't really able to find this information because I don't know if it's publicly available the way it is for like feature films and major studio releases, but I'd be curious to know what the budget was that they were working with for this film and kind of how much they profited or if they lost money. Certainly this proved that there is interest in it, and certainly the average here, which I believe is the average per theater, because we have the number of theaters here, which is significantly lower than everything else in the top 12. It looks like the average per theater was this much. I think that's what the average is referring to. So that's really cool.